Today, we're going to be replacing the bushings on your engine steady. Hey everybody, Cole here with Classic Mini DIY. Today I want to talk about a really easy job to do, and it's just replacing the poly or rubber bushings that are worn out on your engine steady with a new set, and in this case an uprated set that works a little bit better. So on many cars you have this dog bone engine steady, and it has poly or rubber, if it's older, bushings built into each end. And now this is a standard engine steady. The old Mk1 engine steadies, on the side that mounts to your engine, which is actually this side right here, this has a single piece bushing, and it's kind of fed and stuck inside there. So if you have a Mk1 Mini, you're going to have to get a different bushing than what I'm showing in this video. I've since converted my Mini to use the newer adjustable type engine steady here. But as you can see on this engine steady, there are poly bushings in it. I have purple on this side, which is really soft. This orange, which is a little bit stronger, a little bit thicker, and a little bit more rigid. However, as you can see, it's pretty worn out as well, and needs to be replaced. I'm giving a new type of engine steady a shot. These are the engine steadies that are used on MPI Minis, newer Minis that are fuel injected, and they're single piece engine steadies, and they have a small metal ring inside them. And so it's just going to be the single piece engine steady that goes inside your dog bone here. So let's move out to the car. I'll show you how to take this engine steady off. It's really simple. It's just a few bolts, and then we can move on to actually replacing the rubber inside. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is disconnect your breather here. Now this breather just has 2 bolts that mount directly into the transfer case. Now when you take the front mounting bolt off of this bracket here, you're going to want to make sure that you hold on to this spacer. It goes in between the bracket and the body of your engine. So just hold on to that, that's pretty important. Alright, and so there we have it. That's your engine steady. As you can see, mine is an adjustable engine steady, and it has 2 different types of poly on it, and we're going to be replacing that. Alright, so here we have our engine steady out of the car, and as you can see, it has the old poly bushings in it still, and it's an adjustable dog bone. So what that means is that this can be lengthened or shortened depending on how you want your engine to ride, where you want it to sit. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to stay adjusted, but if you had it in a good spot before, you're going to want to kind of keep that adjustment, or you're going to have to fix it afterwards. So first thing we're going to want to do is take out this old poly, and sometimes you can get this out by hand. Usually you can, in fact, get it out by hand, one piece out. And we see on this side the ring actually came out with this poly. You're going to want to make sure that you hold on to that ring if you're putting poly back into your engine dog bone here. This doesn't always come with the poly kits that are sold online, so you want to keep that, set that aside. And honestly, even if you're not putting poly back in, this is something good to keep around and not throw away. So the next side we have our purple poly, which is much softer than that orange poly, but it's newer, so it might be a little bit tighter in here and harder to get out. Alright, looks like we're going to have to move that over to the vice grip. Alright, so that purple poly is out. Now as you can see, this is actually still in really good shape. However, the problem with this poly, and the reason I'm replacing this, is because this is way too soft. It squishes, and when you have that load of the motor on it, when you accelerate, it's squishing, and it's actually making a knocking noise, which is very annoying. So I'm going to keep this poly because it's in really good shape. Don't want to throw it away. But probably won't be using this again. It'll just be kind of a backup set. Now the new set that we have, it's right here. Now this poly is actually made for MPI motors, and let me see if I can get a little bit more light on this. So this is actually rubber, this is not poly, and now the drawback with rubber is that it degrades a little bit faster and it requires replacement more frequently. However, the nice thing about rubber is that it ends up being a lot more rigid, and its kind of buildup is, in my opinion, much better than poly. So if you don't mind replacing it frequently, I strongly recommend going with rubber. And this is a new uprated version of the MPI engine steady mounts. So let's go ahead and feed this in here. And as you can see, that's going to be pretty tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift this over to the table vise, and I'm going to press this in using the table vise. If you don't have a table vise, you're just going to have to get pretty creative and really squeeze this through and press it in, which it doesn't look like it's going to be able to do by hand. But, you know, if you don't have a table vise, I imagine you're probably pretty creative when it comes to squeezing things. So I'll leave that one to you. Let's move over to the table vise. Alright, so as you can see, that was pretty challenging even with a table vise. So if I was you and you don't have a table vise, this would be a really good reason to go buy one. What I ended up having to do is use the socket to kind of press on the outside here so that this could continue to push through the bushing and pop out the other side. As you can see, both of the bushings are now inside the dog bone mount, and this can actually go back on the car now. So let's go ahead and move back out there, reattach it up, and I'll show you how it looks when it's done. Alright, that's all there is to it. Putting that engine steady on is a pretty easy job, but if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comment section below. Otherwise, please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video, and motor on!